Hi everybody, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us as we track Ex-Cyclone Debbie as it moves across New Zealand over the next 24 hours. The low still has not actually arrived, and we've seen some big downpours around the top of the country. Look at this very humid northerly, very clearly visible. It looks sort of like someone's turned on the tropical shower for the north. All that heavy rain crossing over in this area. The main low itself just out to the west of the upper North Island, and that big tropical airflow is coming in around it. Also, you've got the big strong easterlies around Cook Strait, a much cooler wind flow, and as you can tell, it's coming from a different area, so that's why. So colder from Wellington southwards, although the humidity is still up around 100%, pretty much all across the country. So let's take a look and see what's going on over the next couple of days. A lot of people are asking how come there were some sunny spells or dry spells across Wednesday. So let me try and explain it because it's a little complicated. I said earlier today in a radio interview that the rain bands are a little bit like Swiss cheese. There are some holes in them. So this is how the rain map looks for later Wednesday. Now notice the areas in green and yellow out there, some sort of spots where it's a little brighter. Those are the areas, the main areas of concern. Those are the slow moving tropical downpours that we've been seeing around places like Auckland over the last day or so that could cause more slips and flooding. If you can, it's a little hard, but ignoring the pale blue might sort of make more sense of where the severe rain actually is. It's not on these outer fringes, it's these green areas where the big explosive downpours actually are. So that's Wednesday night, and by the way, look at this dry area coming through. So very obvious the main rain band will start to clear the upper North Island, if not Wednesday evening as we go through Thursday. And this is dawn Thursday or early Thursday morning. You can see that front clearing away, plenty of dry spells as well. So when we're talking about the high risk of flooding, I mean, Weather Watch and I think Met Service as well, we're both sort of saying about 2/3 of New Zealand have a high risk of slips and flooding. But that does not equal 2/3 of New Zealand will have slips and flooding. It just means there are big areas that have a risk of these tropical downpours that could cause issues. And thankfully, that Swiss cheese sort of analogy, it's kind of meaning that we're getting these big downpours in isolated areas, so the flooding and slips therefore are fairly isolated. So the big change on Thursday morning, a clearance in the north, the humidity will start to ease and the rain shifts, moves down to Canterbury where it pushes in all along the Canterbury coastline there, and still some rain coming back through Cook Strait as a southerly affecting Taranaki, Wanganui and those areas. And then this is the end of Thursday. Thursday evening, the low still deepening, 991 hectopascals. It may well drop into the 980s. It's driving in a very strong gale force southerly towards Banks Peninsula and maybe even Otago Peninsula. But most other places, just a little blustery, southwesterlies. The temperatures are taking a little bit of a drop from the high humidity, at least for the top of the country, and it's still very wet though, obviously in these eastern areas. And finally, Friday, just for a little bit of positivity as we head towards the weekend, a really big high, 1030 hectopascals, coming in, bulldozing this system out over the Chatham Islands, where it will start to drop away into the Southern Ocean and become no longer a problem for us. So Friday does look much drier across the country. Now, before I go, I did say I was going to end on a positive, but perhaps I was a little bit misleading. This is Friday, April 14th. It's just the current forecast. It might change. We've been watching it closely. Certainly I have through my other job at Country TV. And we do 10-day rural forecast there. And I was focusing on these long-range possibilities. And so we may not be finished just yet with the rain. As you can see, ex-cyclones, tropical depressions, another storm well away from us over towards Broome, and another Tasman Sea low coming in with more rain and more humidity. In other words, April is looking pretty wet.